So today's video is not a planned video at all. What got me doing this video is a newspaper article. So I was reading the Hindu newspaper and there was this article over here which said how many books is too many books. I mean, I literally loved this article, and when I read it, I got so nostalgic over my books that I have already sold away. That was a decision I took, I think 2-3 years back when I was moving, and I had to be constantly on the run because I was living in a PG and then living into rented apartments. The constant struggle of moving books was not easy, and especially the books that didn't fetch you marks. So I was into that practical space ki haan, these books are not really important, and why am I always struggling to kind of finding space for them, or I was wrong. Basically, you understand what I mean. There was crunch of space, and there was this thing where you always have to take care of the books. So this video is going to be a long video. I don't have anything to show in this video, so if you are here to show any haul, I'm so sorry. It is going to be a chit chat video where I would be talking about one of the most important parts of my life actually, and the longest part of my life, and something which is very, very close to my heart. So if you're watching this and if you watch it till the end, then you're really special. Yeah, you're really special. But if you don't want to watch it, that's totally all right, because everybody has their own taste, and this video is going to be long. I don't know how many of you would be watching this video. Even if one of you watch it, it means a lot. I'm just randomly doing this video. It was not on the list. I don't make any list for my videos actually. I just randomly do it, because then what's the fun, right? If you plan your creativity, I think half the fun is gone. So when I was reading this article, I was like, I need to share it with my subscribers, because so many of you asked me to make chit chat videos, and this topic is very, very close to my heart. And the topic today is books, physical books versus Kindle. I mean, it's not obviously going to be a debate, because it is not going to be a debate thing, because to each his own. Honestly guys, a lot of you love Kindle. Kindle is very, very convenient, I would say. I have my Kindle and I got it after a constant battle and struggle within my own self. I thought this is definitely convenient. It is easier to carry. You can keep a lot of books. The Kindle editions are even cheaper than the normal paperback or the hardbound editions. So this was a good choice. And before I proceed with the rest of the video, if you hear things in the background, today is Sunday, 17th of March. बच्चों के एग्जाम्स खत्म हो गए हैं. They are very much into the mood of Holi, so we have to appreciate that and then let them make a little bit of noise. And I hope you're fine with a little bit of noise in the background. I'm so sorry, but I'll try and cancel that out if possible. So yes, coming to Kindle, I have a lot of books in this one recently, and but the essence of reading a book with that joy in the heart has kind of diminished. I don't get really excited about reading on Kindle. It looks dry to me, and then that way I'm also losing my those hours of actually reading. So yeah, I am not enjoying Kindle very much. Wait, I'm going to tell you about this article. So this article is very, very nostalgic. This is written by Pinto, and hats off, yeah, what an article. I mean, this kindled the passion and the desire in me of having my own library once again. I have a crunch of space, but still I am so inspired by this article that I really want to go out and buy some books and start building my library once again. If you do not know this already, or probably have not shared it on my channel, building a library or a small little cozy study for myself is one of my dreams. It's one of my really long awaited dreams, and I really want to work towards it. I'm more of a collector of books than a reader, even though I would love to read a lot, but I collect more than what I read. So when I read this article, I got so nostalgic, because I had a collection of over 300 or maybe 400 books. Ever since I was a child, I was very drawn towards books, not actually reading them. I used to read a couple of pages and then close that down, because I wanted to keep that excitement for longer. So that's how I was, because I always want to go back to the book. I'm not satisfied with one reading. I need to read and then reread and read over and over and over, because books are so personal. I think they're so close. So when I read this article, I was kind of sad, because selling those books away was the worst mistake of my life. I think I'm going to regret it forever, because actually building up your collection takes a lot longer time. It is not just going and picking and buying books. It is the memories that are associated with the books, guys. You pick up a book and if you talk about me, I actually mark in the books, not just the textbooks, of course, I mark and write on the margins, but even on books like I have read Fyodor Dostoevsky or Charles Dickens, I actually mark the lines which I really like. This is one of my most favorite books, guys. I got it from Daryaganj, and you see I have covered it also because I'm very emotionally attached to it. I have also written the date here. I used to write the date, so I got it on June 24, 2007. The pages have yellowed, so it has so many memories. See, I've marked the books, and it means so much to me, so I cannot really do away with this. This is how I read. This is how I read. I take notes from the books. I take down some really nice words that I like. I love that involvement into that book and the characters, and they don't really fetch me marks, and they're not going to do anything, but that, you know, that those memories that are associated, that you've actually picked that book pehle bhi aur usko padha hai, that memories, those memories are really, really precious for me, and I have sold away those memories just because I didn't have space. Today I'm really embarrassed and ashamed of myself, and today here, while talking to you guys, I just decided that I'm going to build that up once again. Not that I'm going to get the exact same books, but I'm going to try and start building my own collection, whatever small or big it would be. So I think it's all about priority. I don't have space in the house, but I'm going to try and find, you know, space. Maybe I'll utilize the wall space to keep my books, but I'm going to build my library. I'm not going to settle on the digital format of reading. I know it is convenient and most of us really love it, but you know, it's going to be a mixture of that, but more of the actual physical books. That's what I've decided. So I'm going to buy more of books, so you would probably see books hauls on my channel more, or maybe book reviews as well. I am not such a huge reader, not a great reader. I cannot first go mein to mujhe koi heavy book samajh mein bhi nahi aati hai. It takes me way too many readings to understand something which is like heavy, like Charles Dickens or some Russian literature, like that. So I'm not such a great reader or a huge reader, but I like having the company of books around. So yeah, now let's start the journey. I don't really remember everything very clearly, but I'll try. So when I was a small little child, I never used to go to bed without my mother or my sister reciting a story to me. And I loved listening to stories, and I'm thankful to them that they kind of kindled that joy of imagination in me, and I'm very thankful to my parents and everybody who was close to me for that. So my sister always used to tell me the story of Cinderella. Whenever she used to oil my hair, I was a very naughty kid और मुझे तेल लगाना बिल्कुल भी पसंद नहीं था. तो my sister used to oil my hair every weekend or every Saturday or Sunday, and मैं तभी ऑयलिंग करवाती थी जब वो मुझे सिंड्रेला की स्टोरी सुनाती थी. तो she used to so beautifully tell the story that I used to be just lost in the story and then gradually fall asleep. That was my childhood. And when I was in standard 4th, I had an English teacher. Her name was Mrs. Anna Mary Jude, one of my most favorite teachers of life. She has taught me a lot. I went to her place for a Christmas Eve, and she gave me a beautiful Christmas present. I think that's the best Christmas present that I've ever got. She gave me a huge book, a book bigger than a newspaper, of the story of Cinderella. It was a beautiful book. Not great of a reader that I was when I was 8 years or 9 years of age. I was not a reader at all, but that book was amazing. Why? Because it used to glow in the dark, and it had very beautiful pictures. The paper was very glossy. So I used to cover myself with a blanket and then open that book, and I used to admire the magic wand of the fairy godmother, and the beautiful glass, the crystal, you know, the sandal of the Cinderella, and everything, the Prince Charming, her beautiful gown. So I used to really admire that, and then I used to try and pick up the words, you know. So that, and I don't have that book. I should have kept it. I get practical. जैसे आई एम वेरी इमोशनल, बट एट द स्पर ऑफ द मोमेंट मुझे लगेगा कि अरे क्या ये तो वेस्ट है, इसको फेंक दो, एंड देन आई वॉन्ट इवन रीथिंक एंड आई जस्ट थ्रो दैट अवे, एंड देन आई रिग्रेट फॉर द रेस्ट ऑफ माई लाइफ. बट आई एम नॉट गोना डू दैट नाउ. आई रियली रिग्रेट गेटिंग रिड ऑफ दैट बुक. आई डोंट हैव इट, एंड आई एम डीपली हर्ट with myself. So that book got me into that zone of picking words, and I wanted to read it myself, and I wanted to capture the story myself. So that was my first, you know, face-to-face thing with the book. then as I grew up, I was more into kind of bachcho ka books. Like Enid Blyton was my favorite. So on a trip to Bangalore with my brother, he was getting married, I went to one of the big bookstores and I got some books for books of Enid Blyton. Those are great reads actually, and I couldn't really read very clearly at that time. Na mujhe samajh aata tha properly, but the actual you know, feeling of having a book in the hand and trying to read word by word, it took me like months to read a small little patla sa book of Enid Blyton, and the book was called Story for Naughty Children because I was very naughty. So I still remember. And then gradually I got into fairy tales a lot. I love fairy tales. I still love fairy tales. That's a escape thing for me. If you just want to escape away from the worries of the world, pick up a fairy tale. You will not regret it. And there's so much of imagination, guys. So I remember when I was in school, I had a friend Nandini that was in 4th standard, and I went to her place and she had a huge library. That was a really nice thing to do. I mean, that's the best thing that you can do for your child, is to actually build up a library. And she had a huge library. So I got a book from her. It was a thick book, and that was called as Fairy Tales. It is a famous book. I don't know if I can find it. I'll definitely, it's going to be a long video, guys, so grab yourself something to eat or drink, or if you're really bored, you can exit out. I won't really mind, but I really am in the mood of talking today. Today's Sunday, let's just talk. So when I got that book, कुछ समझ नहीं आता था, तो on every alternate page there was a picture and then there was a text. So picture and text. So I used to keep looking at the pictures and I used to think what a beautiful land it is. कहाँ पे होते हैं सारी दुनिया, कहाँ पे है इतनी magical world. So that got me into a lot of imagination, and then I returned her book. But वो book मुझे कहीं और मिली नहीं, so I couldn't get it. As I was growing up, like 13 to 17, 18 years of my age, like teenage का जो year होता है, I got into the habit of reading Mills and Boons, and एक series आता था romantic novels का, that was called a Silhouette. So Mills and Boons के बहुत सारे editions होते थे. Like there was the romantic edition, there was the enchanted one, then there was, or enchanted, how you pronounce it, there was one more, and then there was the medical romance. So I was very much drawn towards there was a cowboy version. I was very much drawn towards the medical romance because I wanted to become a doctor, and I always kind of liked that medical couple idea, the idea of the medical couple. I love that. And damsel in distress was also one of those things, like damsel in distress, and there's the Prince Charming who comes up and brings all the joy and happiness in her life. So those are the things, and I really love them. So उस वक्त तो इतने पैसे नहीं होते थे, तो me and my friend used to share the book. Like I used to read, then she used to read, and then that's how this exchange used to go on. And this happened for a really long time. I had a huge pile of Mills and Boons, as like tall as I am or short as I am. It was a really high pile, like 5 feet or 6 feet taller pile of you know, Mills and Boons, and I gave them all away. I had memories attached with those. It's not about the books, but the memories that you actually attach with the books. Then 17, 18 years pe, then I got, of course, Harry Potter was also a huge part. I had all the series of Harry Potters, and much more than the films, I was very, very keen on reading the books, you know. And even especially after I watched one of this episode on History Channel, which was called as A Year in the Life of J.K. Rowling, or Rowling, I don't know how to pronounce it. So I'll leave a link of it in the description box. It is actually available on YouTube. You can just Google it. And what an inspiring episode that was. I was touched. I was deeply touched and motivated. And then I loved Harry Potter even more. Even if you don't know anything about the author of the book, still you would like it. Of course, it is a history into itself. But then once you read the story of that particular author, and it is amazing actually. Must go and see that series. It's not a series, it's just one episode. So that was amazing. Let me have my chai. Thanda ho raha hai. This is a lemon tea, by the way. So I used to, train of thoughts बीच में कहीं छूट गया. I used to, so जब मैंने J.K. Rowling का वो episode देखा, then I was like more into Harry Potter. I love that particular the fluidity of the language जिसे वो she used to write, and I used to refer to the dictionary. I was a very slow reader. I had to read a number of times to actually grasp things. So, and I used to refer to the dictionary all the time. I don't have a very fancy vocabulary, so I need dictionary. And I used to also have a notebook. मतलब ये सारी चीजें मैं करती थी. I can't even imagine कि मैंने ये सब छोड़ दिया है. This is something which this was my hobby, and I think हमें अपनी hobbies कभी नहीं छोड़नी चाहिए. I used to also maintain notebooks, you know, where I used to write the favorite phrases that I've read in a book, or the really nice words that I've come across, the old words and stuff. I got acquainted to V.S. Naipaul, and I loved his work. There was this book which was called as there was this book that had letters of him and his father while he was struggling to become a writer. That book, oh my god, I read it like 3 times, and it was such an educating book, and it was such an uplifting book. I loved those conversation parts of the letters between him and his father. That was an amazing book that I read. Then I got into the habit of reading Vikram Seth and Anita Desai. Then I loved Kiran Desai's work. Then I got a lot into Amitav Ghosh. I love his writing. I think one of his favorite books is The Glass Ceiling, I guess. I think there was also one book which he kind of wrote it in Bengal and London. I don't remember what that book was called. People are going up and down the stairs, guys. I'm sorry, there will be a noise. Oh no, I'm forgetting the name of the book, but I'm going to write it. Then Vikram Seth's Suitable Boy. As I was going through these, I got acquainted towards, of course, I love the work of Charles Dickens. Thoda bahut padha tha. 10th 12th में जो थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ा था Charles Dickens के बारे में. Then I got actual works of Charles Dickens, and I read Tale of Two Cities and all those kind of books, and it was kind of, I had his very famous book, David Copperfield, one of the most famous books. I had that unabridged edition and I sold it away. Matlab, I could have been, I was such a jerk, honestly, that I think this is the worst mistake that I've done. So I read that, David Copperfield. It's a very dark, I mean, David Copperfield is very, very boring, but the intricacies and the details and the way that he writes, oh my goodness, it is amazing. So I kind of picked up that. I loved it, and not that I'm a writer also, but I loved his way of writing. I didn't really enjoy the stories that much, but the way he actually pictured everything was amazing. And then I got into Russian literature. So some Russian literature is amazing if you like books. I love Fyodor Dostoevsky. I'm going to spell it over here because I myself do not know how to pronounce it. I'm not a person who's trained into literature or talking about books, honestly. I'm a normal layman person, so that's how I'm going to talk. I love the work of Fyodor Dostoevsky, and one of my most favorite books ever is Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. It is one of the most engaging books I've ever read. It is a slightly difficult book, and if ever you see me talking Russian, it's only because of that fellow that I would learn Russian, because I have read the English version of it. However, the real book was written in Russian. So I read the translated version. However, the book is amazing. I have underlined things, I've marked things, I've made notes of it, and the book is really into a mess. But I like my books that way, and you won't believe I used to cover my books up. वो पेपर्स आते हैं ना सेलोफेन के, जो जिससे हम कवर करते हैं अपने बुक्स को, जैसे मैंने ये अपनी इंडियन पॉलिटी कवर कर रखी है, आपको दिख रहा होगा, ऐसे मैं अपने बुक्स को कवर कर दी थी और अभी भी करती हूँ. आई एम वेरी इमोशनल नॉस्टैल्जिक टुवर्ड्स बुक्स. दे आर लाइक माई बेबीज एंड माई फैमिली मेम्बर्स एंड माई लव्ड वंस. सो मैंने उसे कवर करके रखा हुआ है. और पेजेस निकलते हैं तो फिर उसे फेविकॉल से वो भी करना होता है, चिपकाना भी होता है. तो आई लव दैट प्रोसेस एंड इट इज़ सो सूदिंग एंड इट इज़ सो it's therapeutic actually. So then I got into Russian literature. Then I started reading Shakespeare. Shakespeare was a little difficult to read because of the old English and stuff, but then I used to get they had those notes at the bottom of it, so I used to read that. And what a remarkable, I mean, of course we all know about Shakespeare, but the lines, the one-liners, oh my god, nobody can match up to Shakespeare. He's God. I have read Mahabharat. It is an amazing read. You must definitely read Mahabharat, and it's an amazing book. So that's how I got drawn into these books. Now all these books, जो 300-400 books का मेरे पास collection था, और बहुत सारा pulp fiction. I'm not into Chetan Bhagat and Twinkle Khanna's books, but that's my I mean, I will confess it that once in a while if I'm traveling, I get into Chetan Bhagat and Twinkle Khanna's books. Twinkle Khanna का एक ही दो book पढ़ा है, but generally like Karan Johar books or those kind of light reads, light biographies or the autobiographies or simple, you know, simple pulp fiction. I just like to casually read them. I don't want to collect them. I want to collect the masterpieces or things that I've really enjoyed or things that I'm kind of have some emotional bonding with. So I sold my books because I was on the move and I had to sell them away. Today, reading this article had made me so nostalgic. So from now onwards, what I have decided is that, of course, I'm going to go to Daryaganj. Not that I am not promoting piracy over here. I'm not going to buy pirated books. But in Daryaganj, they actually, in some of their piles, you can actually find some treasures. How? Because sometimes libraries sell off their first editions, or people who die, it's very morbid, but people who die sell off their books as well, you know, and in those collection and piles you get some amazing editions which you would probably not find anywhere. So for those I would definitely go. When it comes to the actual books, I will still stick to the authentic sources such as Amazon or authentic booksellers, so that I'm aware and I'm sure that the writer or whoever is associated with the book gets the due royalty, because I know the amount of hard work that goes into a creative process, and I don't want to deprive you know, the people of that. So I am not promoting piracy over here. Please do not buy pirated books unless of course it is hugely required. I mean, I would always prefer you read than think about the source of the book, but if you can think about where you are acquiring the book from, then that will be a great thing to do, because we have to think about writers. The smell of the book, the smell of a new book is amazing, and then the smell of an old book is amazing equally. That's the magic of it. And the words, I have discovered that a book that I read when I was like 10 or 12 years of age, and the way I perceive that book is totally different when I read it today. So the words are magical and they change you, they make you grow up, and I think even the stories develop on their own. If a book is sitting on your shelf, don't think that it is dead or it is just a non-living thing. It is not. I think it is growing every single day. It's very, very organic. I find the words magically transformed and the meaning magically transformed into something else if I read it like after a year or after a certain period of time. And I think that is magical, and that is something that I want to have it for the rest of my life. So I'm going to build up a library and you guys will be a part of it. And if I don't do that, just, you know, remind me that Sana, you have to buy books. So once I'm really done with this phase of mine, because I have some exams to take, once I'm done with this, I'm going to go on some book hunting and I'm going to take you guys along with me. But of course, I'll mention over here, I'm not that big of a reader as a collector. I love to collect it and then I gradually read it at my own pace, you know. I take my own sweet time, but I read it. I make sure to read it. So yeah, that was a little tale. I had planned a lot of things to talk to you guys. Do let me know which is your favorite book. Do let me know, are you the same kind of a person like I am? You just collect books and then you read at your own pace. Do let me know your story and your experience with Kindle as well. I know people love Kindle, and even I myself, I'm not saying that I'm going to completely do away with Kindle. I'm going to keep Kindle in my life forever. थोड़ी सी books है मेरे पास, इतना बड़ा pile है बस. I just have a pile this big, and that too not a good pile. I'm not proud of it. I'm embarrassed of it actually. I'm so sorry to all the authors, but I'm embarrassed of my collection at the moment. I'm very embarrassed of the collection. The two books that I didn't get rid of was the Fyodor Dostoevsky's collection, which I got from the Ragan Sunday Market for 100 rupees, and then there's this book called Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, which is one of my most favorite books forever. I mean, it is one of my most favorite books. So that is one book that I didn't get rid of, and I think, yes, that's it. Otherwise, I sold away every single book that I had, and I had an amazing collection. I had a very good collection. I was proud of my collection actually, and today I'm equally embarrassed. So I'm going to pick up where I left. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to you know, keep that passion of my you know, my time with the books alive forever, because in today's day and age, when everything is running so fast paced, it is important to have your corner where you can relax and you can feel comfortable and you feel at home, and where there's nobody judging you, where you can just be yourself, tie a bun, take a cup of coffee and just be with the books. I'm not saying just read it. I mean, of course you can read it, but just sitting amidst the books, I think that itself is so therapeutic. So thank you so much if you have listened to this ramble of mine. Do let me know how you read the books. Do you mark on the books? पहले I used to be very like, मेरी बुक पे कोई मार्क नहीं करना, पर मैं कर सकती हूँ. कोई मार्क नहीं करेगा, पेन तो बिल्कुल नहीं लगाना, पेंसिल से मार्क करना. Even the NCRTs, you know, मेरी 4th standard की NCRTs में मैं कार्टून्स बनाती थी. जब मुझे कोई क्लास पसंद नहीं आती थी, I used to draw cartoons. And जब बाद में जब आप बड़े हो जाते हो, when you flip through those books, you get reminded of so many things. The nostalgia, the emotions, the memories, the times that those books, those scribblings, all those things that brings us like unmatchable, unparalleled, and nobody can give that back to you. So I want to hold them really dear. Or chalo jo ho gaya. Now from now onwards, I'm not going to waste those moments, those precious things of my life. So I even used to keep the NCRTs from my school books intact. Ab to nahi hai wo, but I used to keep them intact, and I used to keep them with me. That was that. And even in these books, I mark a lot. I write things down. I like to write the name of the characters, because I was reading this book, Leo Tolstoy. Leo Tolstoy's books are dark and the Russian names are so confusing. So I used to make a list of all the characters of the Russian names, and that's how I used to actually go through it. So I used to write the name and like sister of so-and-so, mother of so-and-so, girlfriend of so-and-so, lover of so-and-so. So that's how I used to actually keep that, story, in a particular flow, because ek din padha, fir ek din gap kiya, fir next day padha, so I used to lose track of the story. So that's how I used to keep track, and it was such a good thing to do. And I had so many notes. I even threw away all those notes of really good lines and phrases from the books, which I used to call as gems. So they are all lost and gone. But now I'm going to pick up the thread once again, and I'm going to build my life again on the things that I really like, because life is very short. I can't be running over just the material things, or just thinking about I have to settle or I have to earn money and stuff like that. No, I have to earn memories, and good ones, so that I can be proud of myself when I'm old, so that I can go back to it when I have no friends. Of course, I'll be having you guys, but agar aapke paas bhi time nahi hua to, so that I can go back to my books. I can flip over and see कि मैंने क्या पढ़ा था. So I want to grow up to be that kind of a person. Do let me know what you aspire to be. Not that in a career wise, but what you aspire, the kind of life you aspire to have when you grow old. Let me know. Or if you're already into that age, and not that I want to kindle or rekindle things that you do not want to remember, but I just want to know that given a chance, which is that moment you want to relive? Because if I am old, if I had to say that one thing to my 60-year-old self, I would say, gosh, I should have read more and I should have traveled more. These are two things I think it's very important in life. And collect a lot of memories and books. Yeah. So on this note, guys, I'm going to wind this video up over here. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Thank you so much for bearing a noisy video. I had a lot of noise in the background. Thank you so much. This video is really special to me, and if you've watched it till here, trust me, you are so special and so ever close to my heart now. So thank you so much. Have a great Sunday, and in fact have a great life. I just want to leave you with a thought. In this race of life, don't forget your passion. Always take time out for that one thing which you really want to do, because it is going to make a lot of difference when you grow old. So when the days are numbered, these are things that you would really cherish. So I would really request my viewers, develop a passion, and or if you had any, please let's just find the joy in it once again. Just rekindle that passion once again. Let me know what is yours. Mine is definitely collecting books. I wanted to learn a dance also at one point of time. I know a little bit of Kathak, but I wanted to be a trained Odissi dancer, and maybe sometime in future maybe I'll go and learn dancing, and of course you guys will be a part of it. So let's see. And thank you so much for being a part of my life. You have no idea, it means the world to me, and I'm so blessed and I feel so thankful. Thank you so much. You are a very important part of my life. Thank you so much for watching this video. I love you so much. Bye guys.